Ever wonder if the existence we know really is a creation? Did some outside force create all of this? Or is it more like existence is what is doing the creating, creating something larger? Hi, Randy Becker here, and I've been pondering some things that Rickety has told us. You know, it would be absurd to say that an ice cream sundae creates the chocolate sauce on it, and a hit song does not create its own lyrics. And here's another analogy of what I'm talking about. Yes, it's physical, but I think it can help us to think together about the spiritual. Picture a house. No, not that house. No, not that house either. Okay, that's better. Stripped of the various coverings, now you see its frame. Look closer. All those studs, rafters, joists. Each of those structural elements is essential to the integrity of the whole. But let's look even closer. There's a nail holding two of those beams together. Sure, it's just a nail. However, every nail comes from somewhere. Deep in the earth, various elements slowly developed, waiting to be mined, smelted, alloyed, and then shaped into that nail. The whole house depends, in a way, on that nail. It would not be the same house if that nail were missing, nor if other elements were added. And even as that nail is driven into the wood, it is continuing its journey of becoming as part of that house, like the rest of the house is also becoming. That nail may rust, the wood may dry and harden, the joists may sag, the plaster may crack. The house is the story of all of that, an ever-changing story of all the stories of every entity in its construction. You and I, we all live in a house of sorts. We call it existence, both physical and spiritual. But the larger existence is even grander than a house. We call it all that is. And there is nothing which separates us from all that is, and all that is would not be whole if lacking any piece. The pieces create, and create, and create the whole, even as each of the pieces is also undergoing change. Nothing static, everything becoming, everything creating the larger whole. We are the nails, the beams, the plaster that make up the ever-changing all that is. We are also the spirit entities that make up the ever-changing all that is spiritually. Rickety has said this. Okay, let's think about this big entity thingy. All that is made up of all that is and being more. But all that is changes with the changes of all and each part. Does that mean that the more then changes too? Yes, the whole, which is the all and the more, is as organic as any entity. Why? Because if any portion of existence were either static or bounded, then the feature would permeate all existence, so every part and parcel would become static or bounded in the fullness of being. She also said, so if one is always part of and coterminous with all that is, what's the point? If it's only a matter of perception of one's unity with ATI, all that is, then why bother with all these lives and all the experiences at other levels of complexity? Good question. If one assumes the traditional view of everything created flowing from one infinite but eternal source, then there is no point. But if ATI is an organism, both creative of its many layers of complex meaning and created by the experiences of all those layers, then the point is not personal, but universal. We do it because that way ATI isn't static, it's organic. So instead of trying to be reconciled with a God that was, is, and evermore shall be, world without end, we're trying to be active participants in the totality that is yet to be. From the simplest spiritual level of awareness to the fullest oneness with ATI, we gain not only awareness of our own complex levels of existence, but we participate in a process of genesis, which ultimately creates an ATI that is different from what had been. And that new ATI, which transcends the old, continuously needs our ever-new awareness. And, just to blow your minds, all the various ATIs also already exist, but await the collective awareness of them. Every spirit is a part of it, and remember, it isn't linear. Onward and upward is replaced by aha. And if you could wrap your awareness around ATI that both is and is becoming, then you would add more to that which all that is a part of. So the next time you think about this bigger picture in which all exists, consider that maybe it's not a creation of a separate omnipotent power, but rather a spiritually organic summation of infinite entities in the process of becoming. Every entity of existence, physical or spiritual, is an element in that universal becoming. You, me, and everything else, we are creating and recreating again the universal whole. Thinking about it this way, all that is more a product of infinite, inclusive, never-ending creativity than as a source of a separate, finished creation. Okay, after all this deep thought, I think it is time for that Sunday.